Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan here in the home weather office. It is Friday morning, now the 11th day of July, 2025. And this is the morning briefing. Looking out the window from the home weather office this morning, it's a warm morning, but it also looks a little brown, a little hazy out there. Yes, we do have that smoke that is now in the valley. I'll show you that on the satellite in a little bit. So we're going to talk about the smoke. We're going to talk about the heat. We're going to talk about the weekend. But there's also something I want to start with this morning, and I want to look into a little bit about some of the heavy rains and flooding we've been seeing in other parts of the country, not just in Texas, but we saw an event in Chicago. We saw some flash flooding yesterday in Massachusetts. I just want to explain a little bit about that without getting into the minutia of any details about any of the individual storms. What I want to show you here is the precipitable water. Now, this is the GFS, and so what I'm looking at here is the continental United States, and I know that we've got a lot of colors here, but here's California, Texas is here, and then Florida is down here. And these areas of purple indicate higher levels of precipitable water. You know, in the wintertime, I'll show you this map to show you the atmospheric rivers coming across the country. Across the Pacific, rather. Instead, at this time of year, what I want you to pay attention to is the tropical flow coming off the Gulf of Mexico. So this is the Gulf of Mexico right in here, and as you can see, we have this flow coming up this way. Now, so I put it into motion, you'll be able to see that flow a little bit better. And it may be very difficult to see, but there are wind barbs right in here. And the wind barbs are showing the flow coming this way, and then this way. So what you have here is a feed of tropical moisture coming in and then being fed up right up the Mississippi River and all the way up toward places like Chicago and eventually toward New England. Let me back that up. And you just see how that flow continues. So we have high levels of moisture feeding this way. And this is also the same flow that does feed hurricanes and tropical storms as they come this way and then they go that way at this time of year. Basically around the big Bermuda High. Here's another big area of precipitable water, up over 2 inches, and this is a couple of days from now. This is actually a week from now. So I'm showing you not really a forecast, but I'm really just trying to show you the pattern that has set up here. And this is a very typical summer pattern for high levels of precipitable water coming up from the tropics, basically being fed through the Gulf and then up into the United States. And like I said, it's the same sort of flow that does feature tropical storms as well. Sometimes that tropical moisture goes a little bit farther north, and sometimes it stays a little bit farther south. So it's that sort of a pattern. And then, of course, you can see here in the western states, we are quite dry. Here's the satellite this morning, and yes, there is the haze that I'm seeing out the window from the home weather office. Lots of haze. Here is the main fire that we are looking at here. It's the green fire. Once again, spreading that smoke down the valley, and with the low sun angle that this is coming from. This is before 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm recording this just before 8 o'clock in the morning on Friday. So we have the smoke in the area, and the air quality, not great. This is Sacramento. Give it a second to update. And you can see these areas of yellow, so that's moderate bad air quality. These areas of red that go from Yuba City toward Chico, and then up toward the Red Bluff area and Redding. It gets a little bit worse with one spot with an AQI of 209. So there is the reflection of that smoke, and it even does continue down parts of the valley into areas like Modesto, but not as much into Calaveras and to Tuolumne County. But certainly north of El Dorado County through Placer and Nevada counties, you have a lot of that smoke hanging around. Some of this will mix out as we go through the day today, or at least lift a little bit. But we are going to see areas of high particulate matter in the air because of that fire burning to the north. I also wanted to show you the temperatures this morning because this is very indicative of what we get during the summertime. So I'm just kind of focused here on the Sacramento area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to call up Executive Airport, and this is a graph over the last 24 hours. Let me just move that up a scotch. Okay, so this is the last 24 hours. We started yesterday morning in the mid-60s. By 3 o'clock in the afternoon, temperatures were in the upper 90s. Downtown Sacramento stayed at 99 yesterday, so it wasn't a 100. And up through 6 o'clock, we were still in that upper 90s, and then the temperatures dropped off. And then through the evening hours at midnight, we were still in the low 70s, and then dipped down into the mid to upper 60s. So a little bit warmer this morning than yesterday morning. But what I want to show you instead is the pattern in the foothills. So let's take a look at Placerville. You'll notice that the line is a lot flatter. The morning started off a lot warmer in the low to mid 70s, only topping out in the low 90s, but then the overnight low once again stayed in the 70s. So you look here, the minimum temperature in Placerville was 73, the high was only 91. And this is what happens in the foothills. When you look at Auburn, the AKAUN, that'll show you the same thing, starting off in the mid to upper 70s, topping out in the 90s. 95 was the high in Auburn yesterday, and then the temperature stayed in that same warm range all throughout the night. So this is what happens in the foothills. You get the inversion, and that's true up and down the foothills. You can see here at the Columbia Airport, the temperature this morning is at 72, and we see that influence of the Delta breeze, so the Travis Air Force Base only at 65, and then at Davis only 64. But these areas will be up around 100 this afternoon, whereas the foothills will stay in the low to mid 90s. So a much flatter line in the foothills, a much less difference between the morning low and the daytime high than what you see down on the valley floor, where you see a big jump. So for instance, yesterday, a low of 64 and a high of 99, so a difference of 35 degrees. And that's the same sort of thing that we're going to see today. So let's take a look at the HRRR temperatures, and this is, let me back up to the 12Z run. This is the 13Z run. This one comes out every hour, which is nice. Here's the 12Z run. And you can see that same thing this morning with the 12Z. So it's highlighted in red. You can see the areas that stay warmer, and the valley stays a little bit cooler. And then this afternoon, by 5 o'clock this afternoon, we have valley temperatures that are up around, well, this says 110, 111. This model and the NAM over the last couple of days have been just a little on the high side. Around the Sacramento area, this is around 101, 102, 103, and then into Stockton, Modesto, 103, 104. I do think that that today may turn out to be slightly warmer than yesterday. These are the highs we saw yesterday. As I said, Sacramento hit 99. Stockton was missing. Modesto 100 degrees. Redding went to 105. So we may see temperatures today slightly warmer than that. As we head through the day on Saturday, we should see maybe a bit more of a slightly cooler day, because we're going to see more of an onshore breeze. We'll start off with temperatures similar to today, but then during the afternoon, more of an onshore breeze will keep Solano, Contra Costa, Sacramento, and San Joaquin counties cooler, and for Redding and Red Bluff, not much in the way of cooling. So the big picture does show that we may get back into a little bit of a troughing pattern into next week. So yeah, just kind of a weak flow right now, which means that wind is going to not do much to that smoke. I do expect that smoke will hang around again today and tomorrow. It may lift out a little bit on Sunday. And then into early next week, another little trough takes over to help to squash that high a little bit. So once we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, this flow, this should be Tuesday. Yep, this is Wednesday actually of next week. So this is actually a pretty nice pattern, keeping temperatures maybe closer to average, mid to upper 90s. I should say low to mid 90s. But more of that southerly flow will help to steer any smoke from fires off to the north and help to clear out the air quality as well. So it's tough to tell exactly when the smoke is going to clear out of the valley or in the areas that have it right now that I showed you there on the AQI map from Purple Air. But I do think it's going to hang around today, Friday, and Saturday. It may thin out a little bit on Sunday, and then next week as we get that southerly flow back, we'll see the temperatures come down more, and we'll see the air quality clear out. But and I would show you the smoke map, but it's like I don't have a lot of confidence in it, but it's there. But it shows the smoke kind of hanging around as well. So that's everything I've got for you in this Friday morning. Yeah, warm the next couple of days. Today, probably the hottest that we're going to see out of the next few. but still, we'll be debating about 98 or 102, something in that range before you see more comfortable weather likely returning by Tuesday and beyond. And again, by then we should also have better air quality. That's all I've got for you on this Friday morning. Make it a great day and have a great weekend. I'll talk with you later.